Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. Today, I want to give you guys an update on what is going to happen to Ripple/XRP tomorrow. You've most likely seen some people state, oh, tomorrow is a really important day for the Ripple lawsuit. So today, I'm going to give you guys exactly what is going to happen tomorrow, why it could or maybe should be a pretty big or even bullish day for Ripple. And we're going to go over the interview between Brad Garlinghouse and Thinking Crypto. We have other stuff, right? We have a ton of stuff here. I've been vibing right now. Again, we hit 100K subs. I was extremely happy. These guys get it every month. But then again, I was just chilling here listening to some fun songs. I'm so extremely happy, man. It's a really good day for me. I'm just feeling good. Having said that, tomorrow is a really interesting day, like I just said, because it is the 22nd of April, and that is where the motion to strike Ripple's lack of fair notice defense, an affirmative defense, something like that. I've written it down, as you guys most likely know already. The SEC's motion to strike Ripple's lack of due process and fair notice affirmative defense is due on Thursday, April 22nd. And actually, we've already talked about what exactly this entails a couple of times before on the channel, but you might have just missed it a little bit. It is, again, also expressed here in the letter where you saw previously that defendants Garlinghouse and Larson could file their motion to dismiss. It was in the same letter here. April 22nd, plaintiff shall file its motion to strike. And a motion to strike is basically Ripple had a defense. And in this case here, it's a defense which talks about, well, you didn't give us due process and fair notice. The SEC right now is saying, well, that does not matter, that is not relevant, or that is not important to the case. Just, we disagree that happened or that is relevant to the case, so we want to strike that defense down so that the defense is not there anymore. That is going to happen tomorrow. So how it looks like, well, usually one of the accounts over on Twitter or I would just post that specific document tomorrow somewhere, usually around 2 a.m. Dutch time, like around that area is when most of the guys actually post it. Then 3 weeks later, May 13th, defendant Ripple Labs shall file its opposition, which is again, just Ripple's side of things where they're going to say, you know what, we think this defense is actually quite relevant, so we want to keep it. And then the 27th, so 2 weeks later, again, the SEC is going to come back and give a reply to it. And again, I believe only then the judge will actually start to talk about it. But again, I'm not too sure about all of that. I think so, though. Now, this article here is from a couple of weeks ago, March 17th. It reads, Ripple fights back against striking of fair notice defense, as this is not the first time this was all brought up. Ripple sets forth in a letter to Judge Torres why SEC's anticipated motion to strike the fair notice defense is improper. Now, this was before they actually were granted to file the motion. Once more, being granted to file a motion does not mean the motion is actually granted itself. It's basically just that they are now allowed to file it. And before you're allowed to file it, there's also kind of a system for that where they have to request that, Ripple can give some response, and in this case here, the SEC won. Now tomorrow, from that perspective, is actually going to be a good day because we are expecting that this day is going to be bullish for Ripple, mostly for these reasons. Ripple sets forth in a letter to Judge Torres why the SEC's anticipated motion, the fair notice defense is improper. The SEC cannot cite a single case in which the fair notice defense was rejected at the outset of the litigation and therefore relabels Ripple's defense. So, in this case here, what Ripple is basically saying is the SEC cannot bring up a single case from the past where it actually worked, this whole motion to strike. So why would it work now? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. The SEC is trying to make something up. That's at least the way that I'm reading this one. The legal battle between the SEC and Ripple continues to provide news and updates on a quasi-daily basis. By the way, we also provide crypto news and updates every single day, so make sure you press the like button, and why not subscribe while you're at it too? Once more, make sure you just press the like button. Let me also know, what type of music do you like? You know, I think this is really a family-friendly channel in the sense that anybody could just watch here. I will always give you guys my honest opinion, try to give you guys as many news as possible, as much news or whatever. And yeah, it's just a big family, man. Every single one of you, I love you a lot, like you all know. Ripple Labs yesterday filed a letter with the court to reject the SEC's anticipated motion to strike the fair notice defense. As CNF reported, the SEC filed a letter seeking to have one of Ripple's key defenses declared legally improper. So this would really suck for Ripple, logically, because let's say you have two defenses. I'm not sure how many Ripple has, guys. I'm not a freaking encyclopedia. If one of them all of a sudden fades away, yeah, you're standing there like, ooh, we didn't expect that one. Quote, the SEC's anticipated motion to strike is meritless. The striking of affirmative defenses is disfavored in the circuit, and the SEC cannot remotely meet the high burden of showing that there is no question of fact or law that might allow the defense to succeed. So, what the SEC now has to prove in their motion to strike is that there is no way that this defense which Ripple put up has any relevance to the case at all, so it can just be thrown out. Otherwise, all they can say is, well, it's not that nice of a defense, but that's not proper here. Their motion is to strike and just take the defense out completely. So they have to completely just explain how Ripple is basically claiming here the SEC should have given fair notice to other exchanges and everybody when they were asking for clarity that they were investigating or at least had some suspicion that they might be a security, anything like that. They never gave that, and they're saying that is not relevant to the case. Ripple says it is, and they now have to prove that there's no way that that could be relevant, or no way that defense could actually make them win, for example. First, Ripple's lack of fair notice defense more than satisfy the liberal pleading standard and thus cannot be struck, which again, the judge didn't agree with. Second, Ripple's fair notice defense requires factual inquiry and context, which is why courts addresses this defense on the merits or the benefit of a developed factual record. I don't get that one at all. Ripple's, end quote, Ripple's legal team argues that the SEC tellingly does not cite a single case in which a court rejected the fair notice defense at the outset of litigation. And Ripple is likewise unaware of such authority. Instead, the SEC attempted to sidestep the issue by relabeling Ripple's defense as equitable, laches, or estoppel, or void for vagueness defense. Quote, but Ripple has not asserted those defenses, and the SEC's attempt to change the subject and create a straw person should be rejected out of hand, end quote. Third, Ripple argues that even if the fair notice defense involved a purely legal question, which it does not, the Second Circuit has cautioned that disputed and substantial legal issues should not be decided on a motion to strike without the benefit of a developed record. That's again where it kind of made sense, this developed record part, which they talked about at the top. Just the day before yesterday, Ripple accused the SEC of withholding exculpatory evidence, which has already been settled in court right now. And once more, there's most likely sufficient evidence to justify our fair notice, which basically means we're expecting tomorrow to be a positive day. So even though it is only the SEC is going to be filing something, and again, it's a lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple, and whenever there's a motion like this, what I believe is that it's only the other parties who see it. It's against the judge, yes, but the judge is not responding yet until Ripple's also given their response. At least that's what I'm expecting now. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I've kind of seen here. Like we, for example, saw with the motion to intervene and all the other motions here that do not have a hearing. So even though it's only the SEC's side, if the SEC's side is weak, if they're showing some really weak motion, that might be another part of bullish steam. Of course, Ripple can give their kind of feedback in a couple of weeks from now, but again, that's a couple of weeks from now. We want to know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Is that good or is that bad? And I'm expecting personally that that's going to be a really bullish day for XRP, as they just do not have enough power to strike down this defense. Let's read here. Further, Ripple's brief cites these similar examples and arguments as to why Ripple did not receive a fair notice. XRP's unfettered trading on over 200 exchanges, the statements by regulators in Singapore, Japan, and the United Kingdom that XRP is not a security, which, by the way, this part here, that Ripple got information, the SEC, that's actually the biggest part of last week, or last 2 days, the SEC has actually gone to a lot of those countries to get some information about Ripple, which is not allowed. And now again, in a couple of days, the 30th, the court is going to decide on that, and that is a hearing. If you're wondering, Dusty, why is this on your screen right now on the right? This is about that part, where the SEC went out of the jurisdiction to contact foreign regulators and seeking discovery outside the rules of the federal procedure and the Hague Convention, which basically means they try to go outside the US and get information from countries like the UK, for example. SEC communications with third-party statements by seniors SEC officials in 2018 that Bitcoin or Ether are not securities, FinCEN's determination 2015, and SEC enforcement action against Kik and Telegram, which, quote, engaged in conduct that did not resemble that of Ripple, end quote. For these reasons, Ripple argues that the strike of fair notice is not lawful, but then again, the strike has already been, at least the motion to strike has been put now. So the judge said, you know what, we're going to see what you can write in your motion to strike. So Ripple lost this round, kind of, you can say, because they were allowed to file it. But then again, tomorrow's going to be the filing, and we're going to most likely just read a lot of funny stuff because Ripple can most likely just dispute all those things. And I don't think the SEC will win this one. But hey, in the end of things, I'm not a lawyer, not a financial advisor, not a freaking legal advisor, nothing like that. The SEC's anticipated motion to strike is fatally flawed at the outset because Ripple's lack of fair notice defense was well pled. It states a valid defense and sufficiently alleges facts. Nothing more is required. At the end of the letter, Ripple asked the court not to set a joint trial date for Brad Garlinghouse's and Chris Larson's motion to dismiss and Ripple's Lab's fair notice hearing. I'm not exactly sure when this hearing is going to be completely honest. Should the SEC proceed with filing this meritless motion to strike, Ripple's respectfully request that the court set its default briefing schedule unlinked to the individual defendant's motion to dismiss, as one has no bearing to the other, which actually has been done. All right, so they basically want to delink the top part and the bottom part, and they have now been done because this is now all separate than this one. So that's all good as well. It just basically means the motion to dismiss has nothing to do with this motion to strike, so put them in different letters, right? Let's just basically put it like that. So regarding the lawsuit once more, let me quickly give you guys a summary. It was pretty positive what we've read right now. What we've read, however, is a couple weeks old. It was mostly about the initial request for a motion. Ripple lost that one in the sense that the judge found it necessary that they actually do file their motion, the SEC. But in the end, what they've written here, this article and just Ripple in general, does sound to me quite logical as to why the SEC cannot most likely strike their defense down. Will they attempt it? Yeah. Is it meritless? Yeah, most likely too. So once more, tomorrow will most likely be a good day, as I think the lawyers are going to look at the document and be like, this is pretty laughable, this is pretty funny, because in the end, this ain't going to do nothing. But then again, we always could be surprised. Let's wait for Ripple's document, again, on the 13th at maximum. Maybe they're going to file it earlier, we do not know. Because it's kind of a date until, you have to do it by May 13th. You can also do it like May 1st, for example, if you already have it ready, which they might have. In a couple of days afterwards, like maybe they have done by May 1st, who knows? And then May 22nd, again, the SEC is going to come back, but that's kind of the timeline. Then we saw this interview cut partially between Brad Garlinghouse and Thinking Crypto. I already gave you guys a little overview of it, but let me give you guys it again, right? It is over on my Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter, you'll find here a pretty long thread of things. I just basically said good interview and then going over a lot of points. I discussed this in my live stream, but since a lot of you guys don't watch the live streams, I noticed, here you go, all right? So just either maybe pause it for yourself or check through it. You know what? We can actually read it through. So these were my summary points, or the most important ones within the Ripple Brad Garlinghouse lawsuit. I actually have my headset on the wrong way. I was like, hey, why does this sound so weird? That's why. Brad Garlinghouse has now stated that the motion to intervene is fascinating to watch and is quite a big surprise to Ripple's team. Once more, amazing job, John Deaton. That's what I said. This is not Ripple's words. Brad Garlinghouse confirmed he wants to get clarity as soon as possible so that Ripple can operate effectively and so that the XRP ecosystem can operate effectively. There are two options. Either reach a settlement that allows for this, which basically means XRP ecosystem to operate effectively, or let the judge make that decision. Once more, this does show confidence from Brad Garlinghouse. Then, Brad Garlinghouse has stated that the SEC had two primary options. A rulemaking process, which they have access to. This is partially their job, to make clear rules for all of us. Or go through enforcement. And unfortunately, which he says was really extremely inefficient, they chose not to go through the rulemaking process of getting properly regulated crypto space, but they went for the enforcement against Ripple and XRP community. Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse confirmed that they are expecting strong growth this year regardless of the lawsuit. I would say Brad Garlinghouse also agrees here that the SEC is not playing this game very fairly regarding the secondary XRP markets and, of course, exchanges, claiming that they didn't tell exchanges to delist it. That's what the SEC says. The SEC literally says, we didn't tell exchanges to delist it. They did it on their own. And Brad Garlinghouse also calls it that it's really against their nature to do all of this because they should protect us. They should protect the investors, but in the end, they caused $15 billion worth of damages by kind of making this threat and not making it clear that exchanges could have it listed still. If they just said it in one line, okay, could have all been good, but they really went against us as investors, which is literally their mission, to protect the investor, so that's really strange. When asked about the future of XRP, Brad Garlinghouse also explains they would like to expand on Ripple services to provide as much value as possible to the customer they already have. But more to come on that, and we're excited for what that holds. I like that statement. I definitely like that. Then Brad Garlinghouse said, Ripple's 3 to 5 year plan has changed from moving billions of dollars to adding a couple of zeros behind that. That is, again, pretty damn exciting. And he said there's no ETA, there's no real date in the near future for a Ripple IPO, at least in the United States. He said that kind of, he said like there's no date for Ripple's IPO in the US. Maybe outside the US? I don't think so though, because he says at the US SEC would have to approve that, an IPO. And there's a little bit of a disagreement right now between them and the SEC. So in Dusty BC's words, let's wait for this lawsuit to be over and then talk about the next step, which is, for example, an IPO, because once more, it's pretty difficult to get that done right now. Brad Garlinghouse also once more confirmed he is very bullish on Bitcoin, but they do think that they can still do better than it. It's not necessarily talking about the price. He just said, I do think we can do better than it. which basically I think refers to just cryptos in general, maybe XRP, I'm not quite sure. All of those things could do better than Bitcoin if you think about it, so who cares? And then I wanted to show you guys, XRP right now is still following Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still following our pattern. Fiat is still following our pattern. And BitTorrent is still numbing out. I don't know what else to say. It's basically looking like BitTorrent is kind of coming into a big spike right here. I checked the MAs. MAs look bearish on BitTorrent right now. But BitTorrent basically coming from kind of a correction to kind of a whole halt, where it's basically building itself back up again, kind of a triple bottom right here. I'm expecting BitTorrent to do quite good in the near future. XRP to follow Bitcoin kind of to the dot, and VeChain to follow this pattern all along. Same thing for Bitcoin actually. But that also means Bitcoin should most likely come back up here or come down a little bit lower before coming back up, depending of course on if it's going to actually retest the zone and break out, or what. We're going to see that though in the near future here. And XRP will most likely follow along with this pattern, at least we are expecting it to. It would be kind of crazy if it weren't to. You might actually draw a little bit of a negative or a bearish trend line here. I'm not sure about that. I guess we're going to see in the really, really near future if this is going to kind of follow on through or not. In the end, though, I keep explaining to you guys, these lawsuits dates are really important for XRP. And kind of every time we see something positive, the price goes well. For example, around 2 a.m. something, we got the last lawsuit news. You can see, even though we dumped the hour itself, in general, we actually did come up again about, let's quickly see here, guys, about 25% or so after it was filed. So in the end, I'm really freaking bullish. Then again, the 22nd and the 30th are two important dates for XP if you're wondering. We got some other stuff about some shift, about, again, this little thing, and what is in the end? Yeah, again, about the 30th. So that is it for today, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. Once more, make sure you subscribe. Let's get to 150,000 before freaking the end of May. Let's say by the beginning of June, we should be at 150K. If you all support, we're going to be there instantly. Not instantly within one day, but it gets pretty damn quick. So make sure you press the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So you guys get in another crypto update. And that was it.